Okay, I think the stream looks to be live.
Yep, I can see it on my screen.
Hopefully audio is okay. We might need to wait for one or two people to join before. Actually, would you mind? I don't have Discord open. Could I get you to put the link in the? Oh no, it should have automatically created the link in the chat.
Yeah, I can check that. Sometimes it takes a few. There it goes. It just happened now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the only risk with I just realized with Skype is if you have it set a certain way with notification pop-ups, Skype can make a thing appear in your window. So.
Hopefully that won't happen. I haven't used Skype for a couple of years now, and I've got it set to invisible.
Oh, great. That sounds pretty safe.
Okay, I'm just going to post one or two more notifications.
Yep. By the way, that new enemy, the one that hops and shoots, is made of sprites. So,
nice.
Yeah. The cool thing is we got that in the end of the appearing block bridge that you turn on with the switch, and it still fits on a 1 meg Amiga 500.
Oh, excellent.
Definitely some frame rate issues in the middle of the level that hopefully we can optimize, but that's not important for sending the demo to the Gabs 24. We don't need to make sure it runs really smoothly on the 8500.
Well, shall we? I'll get the game running, and then I guess I'll do a quick playthrough of the game in its current state.
Yep. So once there's a viewer or two, it would be good to run through the level once and show the bouncing the shot up to turn on that switch and the bridge, and then one of the things we're going to need to test is the bombs. So I think one of the first things we should do is edit the code so that the bomb weapon takes less of the magic energy, so you could spam bombs more to easily test them. By the way, there's a really nice graphical or visual tutorial image you sent on the Patreon email recently.
With the classes.
Exactly, yeah, that was great. In fact, that did raise an alarm. Hey, Mixel's Lab, how's it going? Good morning.
Morning, Mixel. Yeah, I think the naming of the classes, particularly the projectile class, may not be as intuitive as it could be. In fact, I think originally it was called something like player projectile to make it clear that it was really designed for the player's projectiles as like an actor that can collide with other actors that aren't the player.
Right.
But if you've got an enemy bullet that only hurts the player, you might as well just use the actor class.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to check on because when I saw that visual guide that you had sent, I thought, am I obeying this general suggestion for the sake of optimizing? So that's one thing we can look into.
I there are some cases where you may want to use the projectile class for something that's not a projectile at all, like because projectiles can trigger code blocks when they collide with blocks. So
Right.
if you wanted to have a block that basically says, okay, the enemy can't move past this block, you could use the projectile class for that enemy. So the enemy walks up to the block and then sees that block and then turns around, whereas a regular actor can't interact with blocks that way.
Right. Mixel says I sound a little bit like I'm down in a well, and that's how it was last time. We're trying Skype this time for audio, but it seems to be doing the same thing, which is strange because this is the same microphone I've always used. And do I sound like I'm in an echoey well or in like a room behind a closed door or anything like that to you, Eric, while I'm talking to you, or is it like a
No, I
streamlined
mean
thing?
it sounds crystal clear to me. So I think it's possibly um maybe something to do with OBS.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, although admittedly I'm not not so. Oh, was that to say I'm not so good with OBS things? It could well be something like the filters are all set up for my microphone, but then similar filters need to be set up for the desktop audio because your voice is coming in through desktop audio and then being streamed out, and I think that's where the the echo issue.
Echoey kind of sound.
Hmm. I'm just gonna have a look at Yeah, so I've got these two filters for my audio, but I haven't tried setting up anything for the desktop audio.
Right.
Do you think it's worth a try, or we just leave it for the
Yeah,
stream?
might as well at least try echo,
Okay,
some
so what do we got?
echo canceling.
So we've got
See.
noise suppression and noise gate. 4540. Well, we've got the compressor there. So we didn't have that on the other one. So let's get rid of that. Um,
Testing, testing.
we had noise gate and noise suppression,
I guess I'll
and that
keep
was
rambling while you do this so that Mixel can let me know if I sound any better.
okay.
Oh, the
Well,
echo has stopped. Well, that's fantastic. Do I sound more clear as well? I didn't get too quiet or anything, Mixel? Let me know. Let us know if this is a better setting. You sound much clearer. Oh, fantastic. A bit louder.
okay.
Well, maybe I'm just excited because the echo is gone. Maybe I'm actually speaking louder.
Yep. Some of these noise gate settings are different. I'm not sure if I should try to match them to my microphone or just leave them. To be honest, I have no idea why they're at these settings. I probably just followed a tutorial years and years
Right.
ago. But
Yeah, I mean, I would say if Mixel says it sounds a lot better, that's fine, so long as I'm not too much louder than Eric. Is my volume about decent, Mixel, or am I too loud? If I'm too loud, that should be a very easy adjustment. Oh, about the
okay.
same. Okay, well,
All
that's
right. Oh well,
perfect.
that's
Thank you very much, Mixel.
good. Okay. Well, we've got a few viewers now, so I think we should do a quick short play of the level as it currently is.
Yep.
Now this time, I've got the music running on the game. I've turned it down quite a bit. Um, do let us know if the music is sort of getting in the way of being able to hear what we're saying.
At this point, with the music volume, if it's low enough, the sound effects might be too loud, like the explosion especially, but hopefully not.
Um, so that's the first new thing is this bridge. If we deflect a shot up into the well, the bridge was spawned by me deflecting a shot upwards into the switch.
Yep, that was a lot of fun. Really fun use of the yield command to make each block appear like a half a second after the previous one, and to trigger a sound effect. And I also used the new sound feature of changing the pitch of the sample, so it's the same sample being played each time one of the blocks of the bridge appear. But there's the delay, there's the visuals shining, a peer effect for the block, and each time a new block appears, that sound effect is like a pitch higher. So it goes like beep, 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 beep. It's a nice progressive sound sequence instead of the same sample each time, but at no additional memory cost, which is awesome. So you're about to see a new enemy once you get past this hovering platform. Or I know you've seen it before, Eric, but oh yeah, and don't forget, everyone. I have I'm watching the stream too to see what he's doing. So there's a pretty several second delay. So
I when I first saw this, I thought it was actually a button, and so I just basically went like that a couple of times.
Ooh, bug! Wow, that never happened on my end. Interesting. This is a new bug. When it hops, it's supposed to open up. It's supposed to switch actors and then shoot. And that's the way it was always happening. I'm going to play it really quickly on my end and see.
Yep.
I could sort of swore I didn't change anything.
And everything's checked in?
Yeah. I'll double check that as well in a second, but I'm 99% sure.
So we've got our sort of boss for the level coming in. It comes in from the background, and then it attacks us more directly. Oops, and I died that time. So, yeah, because I lost all my health, the character blew up, and then the level starts again.
Okay, I just confirmed the enemy does properly open up on my end, so let me make sure. Yeah, there's nothing I have not committed, so...
Have you pushed everything?
Yes.
Okay, so
I have a feeling it was something you did in game that broke it, so maybe it's still broken. Oh, very interesting. Is it possible I'm using a slightly older version of Scorpion, and the change of the versions? Is there an easy way for me to check which build of Scorpion I'm running inside Scorpion?
Well, it should. So 2022.5 is the latest. I guess grab the version that's on the Git repository.
Yes, but should I grab... I think that's the thing. I think you released a stable version to 22.5, and I didn't get that. I just stayed with the experimental.
Yep, so that stable version is what I'm running here.
Yeah, so let me see if when I update to the stable version, let's see if that basically breaks that.
Let me have a look at what is the name of that character?
There are two actors that it switches between, and it's Hop Gunner and Hop Gunner Air. Hop Gunner is when he's on the ground and basically collapsed. HOP down right. Yep.
Oh, okay, so it's meant to do that.
Yeah, it opens up like that when it jumps, and then it shoots. There's an animation called Hop Gunner Air Shoot or something like that.
Okay. Gunner Air Shoot. So you've got this hopper jump code that runs every 65 frames.
Yeah, that's what makes it jump into the air. It switches to the other actor.
Okay. So that plays this animation hop gunner tell.
Right, and then if you look at the Hop Gunner tell animation, that should trigger another code block.
Called finish is jump actor. So 5. Oh, okay. So that plays the animation, and then 5
Right,
frames later, it does the jump.
right. Which should
Um,
simultaneously switch it to that other actor, right? Like it switches actors to Hop Gunner Air and makes Hop Gunner Air jump. That's what's supposed to happen.
I don't see anything that currently changes it to hop gunner ear though.
Yeah, how is that possible? Like I I never changed that and it's working on my end. So that code still has to be there.
Let's have a look. So I should definitely have the latest. Um, okay, so looks like there was a check-in earlier today. So
Yep.
um,
When's the last time you got latest?
I just then. I had just before.
The stream?
Yeah. Let me just run it again
Interesting.
just to make sure that okay, let's do that again. Okay, so it's playing the jump animation.
Oh, good.
There's nothing
Oh,
that
no.
switches it to the
You mean
so if I,
it's doing the tell animation, but it's not switching to the other actor
no.
and playing the.
So is it meant to have something on platform landed?
Yeah, it should switch back to the Hop Gunner actor.
Oh, so sorry, the hop. So it doesn't seem to be changing to the hop gunner ear.
Yes,
Oh wait.
exactly.
Um,
It's supposed to be when it jumps.
but what triggers that? Because I couldn't see any.
There's supposed to be code in there. Let me check. And you did get latest, so I don't understand how I have it, but you don't, since it's working in mine. But I'm in the process of unzipping and running the non-experimental Scorpion engine. So let me get that done.
Okay, so that one is 37.
Thanks very much, Mixel, complimenting the gameplay design. This level is really more of a test bed. Once everything is working, then the next step, which I probably won't have time before I send it to the Gebs, the YouTuber who's going to be playing the demo. I probably won't have time to carefully construct a more thought out, slightly longer level and, really perfect the placement of everything and exactly how many hit points everything has and all that. But that would be the next step after making sure everything works. Then it's actually playing it over and over again and figuring out every way possible to make the level flow well and make sure the difficulty curve is nice and that, yeah, all that all that gameplay specific stuff. It's one thing to get the functions and ideas in your game to work. It's an entire other thing to make sure everything that does work is working nicely together and is viscerally rewarding to the player. Um, but yeah, but thank you very much. It's I know there's a lot of fun ideas happening, and it's only going to get better once I do have time to balance it, and especially to get testers. The other game project that Corey and I are working on, Damon Claw, uh, we recently got like 80 different players who had never played the game before to test the game, and we got really valuable feedback. And the most valuable thing was we got them to just send us screen recorded footage of them playing the game. And that to me is even more valuable than asking for specific feedback, because there tends to be uh, two types of feedback you're going to get from an average person that's not like a really high level pro tester. You're going to get a bunch of people are going to kind of pull their punches and they won't be critical enough. And then you'll get other people with any game that looks even remotely like a famous or well-known genre, like Damon Claw looks like it's supposed to be a Castlevania or a Metroidvania game, but because it's not, the other people are going to see the game. They're going to say, "Ooh, this is like that type of game that I like." And then any way that it's not like the game that they like, they're going to tell you to make it exactly like the game that they like. You know what I mean? Um, but anyway, it's getting good feedback is fantastic.
Um, I have thought of what the problem could be.
Okay.
Could I get you to, in your at your side? Could I get you to check jump actor,
What do you mean by check jump actor?
as in the code block? Because
Code
that's
log. Uh, all right, jump actor. I don't even see it yet. It's not always alphabetical, right? So it could
it'll
take a
be
while
the
to find.
italics one near the bottom.
Okay. Oh, jump actor. I found it. It just says set direction for actor to jump movement.
Okay. Oh, it wasn't what I thought it was then. But
Well,
it
I did just load this in
the latest.
the the latest non experimental. I assume that doesn't change code blocks, but maybe it does because these are kind of like default code blocks. Was it different in the experimental one?
Um, no, I don't. I didn't think I made any changes. But in any case, does it seem to be working for you, or
I haven't run it yet. I'm about to do that.
okay? So, I mean, what I've found at my side is there's no references that change Hop Gunner into Hop Gunner Ear.
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy. Hold on a second. I'm about to run. Let me get to the enemy. See if he's now behaving. Yep, he's now behaving the same way. So it
mm.
seems like it's an issue specific to the stable version as compared to the experimental. I'm gonna run experimental again and see.
Wait, sorry, you said it was behaving or wasn't behaving on stable?
No, it's doing what yours was doing now
Oh,
because
okay.
I ran it in the stable version. But definitely somewhere there's code that switches it to the other actor. We just need to find that. Either you missed it or somehow it's getting filtered out if you load it into the stable Scorpion engine editor. Like, is that
Okay.
possible that
What?
like a line of code or code block is?
I mean, I guess just to absolutely rule out that it's rule in or out that it's stable versus experimental. If you just run the
Yep. I'm running experimental again to double check.
Yep.
I'm doing that right now. Yep.
Actually, here's if I go commit, let's just see if what was that change?
Yeah, it works fine. Once you run it in experimental, it behaves the way I had intended. So let me see if I can hunt down in experimental the code block that switches. So it should be in the animation tell when that's over. That's the only one that would make sense. So hop gunner tell at the end of it. Oh yeah, it just does jump actor. That's really interesting. Did I actually edit jump actor? I have a feeling that's the difference. I have a feeling I hand edited
Yeah,
jump
that's
actor. Yep, I'm almost certain that's the problem.
okay.
So we should just clone jump act. Oh no, it just says set direction for jump actor to jump movement. That's
All right.
shocking. All right. Oh, there's got to be somewhere.
Well, what does it say for your find references for jump, hop, gunner, air? Because for me, it's only got these two.
I'm sorry, only got these two what?
Oh, sorry. These two references for hop, gunner, air. So I've got blow up and
Yeah.
fly bounce. Neither
Right.
of them change to hop, gunner, air. They just check to see if the
All right.
current actor is.
So this is very interesting. There is a code block called hopper jump,
Yep.
and it specifically the very top one says change actor to hop gunner air. But am I somehow not ever running this, or is it like do I use like a go sub or go to at some point to get to this code block?
Okay. So what's the name of the code block?
Hopper jump.
Hopper jump.
Yeah, it's a code block called hopper jump.
Okay. So I've got that up now.
That looks completely different. How is that possible?
Okay. I guess it's just not committed or pushing. Oh, what I'll do? Let me just find that. Oh, unless there's multiple of hopper jump. Let's find the code block. Okay, no, there's only one code block called hopper jump. Let's have a look at the log for that.
Wow.
So
But see,
that
that's
was
what,
checked
yeah.
in. That was checked in on 4 days ago. That was added
I'm
4 days
surprised it
ago,
was
but it
that long
hasn't.
ago, but yeah.
There hasn't been any changes committed or pushed in for that code block since then.
Well, I'm refreshing. There,
Um,
it's not showing anything outstanding to me. Zero files changed on GitHub desktop. Also, the issue is when I run this game in the experimental version, it's works the way it's supposed to. It is changing the actor. Oh, yeah,
let's have a look at just in case it's something weird at my side. I'll just check that it's a where was that? It was under. Okay, so it's just in the root folder. Let's have a look at Hopper Jump. And yeah, so online it hasn't been updated for 4 days.
how is that possible? What is
I don't
GitHub
know. I
doing?
mean, possibly an issue with GitHub Desktop. I guess what you could do is you could make like one change, like maybe add another line to it. That's just
Yeah,
a comment, then commit
yeah,
that in
good
and push
idea.
it.
All right. I added a blank line. A blank line should do it too, right?
Yep, yep. A
All
blank
right.
line will flag it as something that's changed.
All right. Changes. Huh. It's not updating for some reason. That's weird. All right, so I've never actually... Oh, I can just add a comment to any line. There we go. I forgot how that worked. Okay. But why is GitHub not noticing the change? This is really weird. I wonder if it'll notice a change to another code block, but not the mystery code block that's not updating.
What else could it? What else? We got a. We don't have a git ignore, I think.
Right, I added a gibberish comment to another code block arbitrarily, and that showed up.
Okay, so it's ignoring.
How is that possible?
Well, I didn't think we had a git ignore in this. So a git ignore is what you use, is the file that you use when you want to ignore. You want the Git repository to ignore certain files just completely. But it doesn't seem to be one here, unless there's something weird about. No, could you rename it and then try committing?
I was just about to suggest that I do that. All right, so I'm going to rename the code block to Hop Gunner. Be more consistent anyway. Hop Gunner jump. All right. And is there a way for me to search for references to a code block or no?
Not
or
at the moment,
actors?
no.
Okay. That would be handy, but I have to hunt down. Do you know which code block calls Hop Gunner, Hopper Jump?
I thought it was just the actor, so I think it's just you've got Hopper, Hop Gunner, and Hop Gunner Air.
Yeah. Hop Gunner. Hop Gunner hit. Hopper Jump. Here it is. On timer expired. Hopper Jump. So that should be Hop Gunner Jump. All right, I fixed that. Wow, it knows that I changed the actor, and it knows that I changed that other code block with a gibberish comment, but it's still not registering the renamed code block. How is that even possible? And why this particular code block? Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Is it possible that what I probably did was copy that italicized jump actor code block? I probably made a copy of it and then added code to the copy and renamed, named that a copy to Hopper Jump. Is that somehow flagged as a thing to not commit?
So anything that's italics is part of the engine's built-in code blocks, and so that's not it's not a copy per it's not a copy per project. It's a copy for the editor. What you could check is if you go into your editor folder.
Yes.
And then under data and streaming assets.
Yeah, that's got to be what's happening. That's why it's not in the actual Scorpion Boy folder. It's in the... That's got to be the case. Fascinating. All right. And that explains why this explains everything. That explains why if you run it in the stable version,
it doesn't have.
That's why it has a different. Yeah. Although I don't understand how you have a 4-day-old version of the thing. Like, how did you get any version of the thing? Of that?
I mean, I guess the 4-day-old one could have been your prototype, and then you created a new one from that copy of Jump Actor.
That's almost certainly the case. Come to think of it, that's the only thing that makes sense. All right, I need to focus here. I'm not running on many hours sleeps. Let's
That's
see.
right.
Scorpion engine experimental, and then is it under data? And then where would the code blocks be for Scorpion editor?
Yep. The data,
All right, so it is in data.
and
Okay.
then streaming assets.
Oh, there we go. Streaming assets.
So,
I'm expecting to see. Yep, hop gunner jump. There it is.
so
So I'm
just
just going to copy that
mm,
into the actual Scorpion Boy
is
folder.
there anything else that like, is that the only code block? Do you think, or do you think there might be
I
others?
imagine so.
Yep.
I really think that was the only time I ever did that.
Yep. Okay.
Uh,
So
right.
while I've got the streaming assets folder open, I might do a quick explanation of what this is actually all about.
Yep, go for it.
So these are all code blocks that are they essentially do essential functions for the Scorpion engine. Like, there are code blocks for loading level, loading music, loading panel. You can actually see these in the editor if you scroll down the bottom, and then you see these italic ones. So, for example, load level does a few things, like it sets like the camera bounds. It resets the camera bounds so that if you load a different size level, it will let you scroll all the way to the end, but not any further. And also, like, it resets the control state so it doesn't immediately trigger a fight, player shooting right at the start. This is all logic that used to be hard coded into the engine itself, but I extracted it out to code blocks for a couple of reasons. One is because it makes it a bit easier for me to find and fix bugs if it's in the external code block system. I don't need to recompile the engine to make a bug fix for these things, but also it does give you the opportunity to sort of change a couple of things, how Scorpion works internally, if if you want a slightly different logic for loading level or loading music, that sort of thing. But um,
But I guess the lesson here is if you want to make a clone of the code block to reference it, actually copy that code block into that specific game's folder, so you don't run into the issue that we just ran into.
absolutely, and yeah, and so these are these italic ones are stored in the editor folder. So any project that you open with that editor will have those code blocks. But if you switch to a different copy of the editor, as Mike did just before, we won't have that code block anymore.
Right. Okay. I'm running now the stable version now that I copied that code block directly into the Scorpion Boy project folder.
Yep.
So, drum roll, please. I'll let you know if it's working now. Yep, it's working. So if you get latest on GitHub, that should fix the issue. And then we can get to the decently sized list of all the other issues that I'm hoping we can fix.
So, oops, that's the wrong. Sorry, I just updated the wrong project.
No problem.
Okay, let's have a look. Okay, grab the latest. Okay, we've got something hopefully fixed.
Yep.
Now let's have a look at. Hop gunner jump.
Yep.
Okay, so that changes hop gunner air. If I go to hop gunner air and find references, then it should show. Yep, hop gunner jump is there. But I think we'll need. Will we need to change the on timer expired for the Hop Gunner Air to being that new Hop
I
Gunner
thought
jump?
I had done so. Yep, I did. No, that you don't need to change. I
Oh, okay.
think it's
Oh well.
already. Just try running the game.
Yep.
Because one triggers the going to jump animation, the tell, and then the other one triggers the actual jump and the swapping of actors.
Yep.
So yeah, going back to the feedback thing, that's the most important thing. If you're designing a game and working hard on it and it's your baby, you need to find that balance between not being overly defensive and therefore being receptive to really useful feedback and not getting your feelings hurt. And not taking it personally and not being overly defensive. But you have to find the balance of, well, is this person just trying to get you? Like, let's say someone's a big fan of, for example, Castlevania, and your game is slightly like Castlevania, so they're like, make it exactly like Castlevania, otherwise your game sucks. You know what I mean? You need to know what your vision is, but make sure you're receptive to all feedback that is legitimate, that will make your game better, even more so your vision than it currently was. Because when you're designing your own game, you have amazing blind spots, because whenever you playtest your game, you're playing the way you want everyone to play, but other people aren't psychic. They don't have your thoughts in their head when they're playing the game for the first time. They're going to have preconceived notions, especially if your game does look like other game genres. So you need to make sure that you're able to make your game communicate to the player that no, this isn't that kind of game, and to reward them for playing the way you want them to play, in making sure that they can't play in ways you don't want them to. That was one of the biggest discoveries we made when we had them. So you can see it's working now, so that's fantastic. But there are some other bugs to get to.
Mm.
Make the hair longer. Was that some constructive feedback you got, Mixel, for your game?
Oh.
Anyway, so if you want, we can move on to the other bugs.
Yep. Well, I guess we'll start at number 1 on your list and go down.
All right, so that's might be trickier than. So one thing that I noticed, actually, when you started playing, I just noticed this.
Mm-hmm.
There's an issue where I think it is if you've been hit and you're flashing.
Yep.
And you block, instead of it repelling the shot upward from the big face robot, it instead the shot just disappears.
Okay.
So there's some loophole in the logic for repelling the shot that does something different or doesn't do the complete action if you're flashing. So I'm sure I'm doing a check and probably just skipping out of the entire code block if you're flashing, because you're not supposed to get hit.
So let's
But when I
Oh, that seemed to be okay. So let's have a look. So I get hit, then I go to block, and it did seem to.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was. Could have swore I saw it even when I tried it, but maybe it was trying to repel the shot when you're flashing. Something like that.
Let's have a look. So, okay. So I'll try that next. So I'll get hurt, and then I'll try to use an attack to
Exactly.
Oh, that seemed to be okay. So I'm gonna get hurt again.
Super specific timing. Maybe if you press block on the same frame that you would get hit or something. I don't know. All right, we could skip that one for now until I can reproduce it. So let's move on to my list, I guess.
Yep.
We definitely need to do a lot of testing of bombs and boomerangs. So I think we should temporarily edit the code that subtracts the magic meter energy when you throw either weapon.
Okay, so
So I think it's in player code, but I could be wrong. I actually have Scorpion.
Okay, so we've got. Okay, so do we have... Okay, so we don't have a code block run on attack, so it must be in... It would have to be in player code. So let's have a look at our player code here.
And this does require holding up to throw either weapon. So you hold up and press attack, if that helps find it. Let's see.
Momentum. Go sub... maybe throw? Which throw?
Yeah, that's it. There you
Okay,
go.
yep, alright. Okay, so we've got a few conditions here. Actually, it might do some tidy up here if
Optimizing?
that's...
That's on my list of things to do in optimization pass. That would be fantastic.
So we've got a couple of extra end conditions that we don't need. So let's get rid of those to begin with. This asks the same question twice: is blue energy greater than 4? Is blue energy greater than 4? So we don't need this sort of middle one because we already
checked it.
Yeah. So we can get rid of the middle bit there. Then this next bit is if weapon equals 1 or if weapon equals 2. We can simplify that, streamline that a bit. So we'll get rid of this end condition here. And I'm going to change this to being else if, which is very, very slightly faster than having another independent.
Every little bit helps. I want to someday get this game running smoothly on A500, so...
What else can we do? Okay, so we can simplify this because we know that the player has to be looking left or right because it's a platformer or platform character.
Right.
If it was a top-down game like like Commando, that might not necessarily be true because it could be just looking up or looking down without looking to the side. But for a platformer, we can absolutely guarantee that the player's looking left or right. So we don't need the second condition. What we can do here is we can delete that line, and then we change that one into else.
Right.
So it's either facing right or it's facing left. It looks like it's the same thing there, so we'll do that. Tidy up as well. Oops. Change that type to else.
And can we just the line that says set blue energy to blue energy -5 in both cases? Just
disable that.
Comment it out or disable it. That's what I mean.
Yep.
You have infinite bombs and boomerangs. This code block has a very nice wavy pattern because of all the what would you call that? Nested conditions, all the if statements within if statements.
We could do a bit more optimization on that if or maybe not necessarily optimization, just sort of de-nesting it a bit.
Right.
Actually, one thing I wanted to check: is there only weapon 1 and 2?
Yes, there are only 2.
Okay, so we don't really need an else if here. We just have an else. So because if we don't have weapon 1 equipped, it has to be weapon 2.
That is true. Maybe someday we'll introduce a third weapon, but we can change that.
We'll just sort of have a else if weapon equals 2, and then the last one would be else. Actually, I think I might leave the tidy up there. I think some of these things we can tidy up a bit more, but they won't be in ways that are necessarily add to performance.
Yeah, and it's more important to just get everything working right now. We don't need to hyper optimize or organize to get the demo to the person we want to get it to.
Okay. Well, so it was an issue with the bomb that you wanted to...
Yep. To improve gameplay, what I did was I made several of the blocks on the top edge and the front and the back actually of that big face enemy that's made out of blocks, the robot, the first enemy. I made those solid, so you can't just walk right through them or slide through them until you defeat him, and then he becomes something that you could just walk right past or jump up on top of him.
Yep.
But as a side effect of that, now you can't hit him with the bomb because the bomb lands on the block that makes the top of him,
Oh,
so
okay,
the
all right.
bomb doesn't overlap the face. And I've tried, but it's just too hard. Maybe we should just temporarily make the player constantly invulnerable. So I'm hoping we could figure out an easy way. See, that looked like it should have been hurting him there, the
Yep.
way you've hit him the last couple of times. And
Well,
nothing's hurt him. One easy way I was thinking is to just expand the collision box of the bomb a bit to make sure it overlaps. And maybe, of the face, actually, the collision box of the face. We could pretty drastically enlarge that without ruining gameplay and make sure that if a bomb blows up near him, it's going to actually hit him. I'm not detecting collisions with the blocks to hurt the enemy. There's a Bob that is his face.
oh, okay, all right. So
So we don't need to do any collision checks with the blocks. We need to just check the actor, which is like Big Face or something like that. I can check the actual name. But it's an actor's. It's a big face. Yeah, it's called Big Face. Can't
okay.
miss it. There it
So
is.
the problem is the bomb is colliding with this, and that's not hurting the.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I don't think the bomb is overlapping that. I think it's
Oh,
getting
hitting the
destroyed on
blocks.
the blocks and
Okay.
not overlapping.
Well, let's have a look. Okay, so for example, this what? Oh, wait a
So
minute.
I'm saying just in expanding that a collision box bigger might fix it.
Um. Well, I mean, we should be able to make it so that it ignores that. If the bomb hits one of those blocks, it just sort of ignores the. It just goes through it without being destroyed. Oh, but you said they were
Even
solid,
if
right?
it's solid, yeah, it's meant to
Okay.
stop the
So,
player from
did you try
walking.
the shoot over flag?
No, I didn't even know that was a possibility.
Okay, so that might be the solution. Let's have a look. So I think these ones from A to N. These are the those
It's
are the enemy.
starting at the top of its head, not on the right there, like the face where the face starts. And that top
Oh, okay, yep. So not all of those are solid. So
right.
that's not
Only the ones that
solid.
need to be.
So that one is solid. So I'm gonna go shoot over. Shoot over, shoot over. I don't know if we'll fix it, but we'll give it a try, see what happens.
Right. So basically any projectile will just go through it even though the player can be stopped by it.
Yeah, that's what it's meant to do. Admittedly, it's not um one that I've tested in a while, but the use case was for, like, for example, you've got a top down shooter and you've
Hmm.
got a river. So the river's
Yep.
going to stop your feet, but it
Right, because
shouldn't
you don't want
stop
the
your
player to walk
bullets.
in the water. Yep.
And we'll just check, what is the name of that bomb actor?
I think it's called bomb, but yeah, it's called bomb.
Bomb, and that
And
is
so the bomb checks for collision and just spawns an explosion. The bomb itself does not hurt anything. It's the explosion it generates
oh,
when it
okay.
hits something that then triggers the damage.
Let's
And that explosion is used as a harmless effect, and it's used as a thing that can do harm by setting its variable 1 to 1. Its variable 1 to 1. That makes it an explosion that can hurt the enemy, as opposed to just an effect explosion for like an enemy dying. Yeah, I think at some point I must have accidentally messed up the code for explosions to hurt stuff, because that definitely should have been hurting him. And I noticed the explosions also are not hurting the boss at the end. Oh no, not hurting the hopper, the new enemy.
okay. Well,
But it
I'll
definitely
just
is working now. Like the bombs are not stopping on the enemy, which is great. That's
hmm,
the behavior I want.
um,
But now we still need to figure out why it's not hurting the enemy when the bomb
oh,
is exploding.
oh, um,
So try hitting that with a, yeah. You hit it with a bomb, it doesn't get hurt for some
oh.
reason. The boomerang hurts it, but bomb does
Now
not.
it doesn't. It's not actually shooting the bomb anymore.
All right,
So
that's definitely some kind
I'm
of.
pushing up and
Yep.
attack.
Yeah, that's a bug. I know it does a check to make sure you have at least 4 energy,
Yep.
or 5 actually, but that meter says you have way more than 5,
Hmm.
as
Okay.
far as I
Well, let's.
can tell. So I'm not sure.
So what's X boomerang and X bomb?
I don't know. Are those actors or what?
Well, there'd be variables. I'm assuming it's a way of counting that you haven't got more than one, and maybe it
Oh
got stuck
yes,
somehow. Possibly.
yeah, interesting. Yeah, I
Um.
guess when a bomb explosion finishes playing, it probably sets that back to 0.
So if we have a look at bomb below, let's have a look. Okay. So yep. So that sets X bomb to 0. Um.
Yep. So
What?
yeah, that was exactly to limit the number of thrown enemies, weapons on screen, so you can't slow down the game throwing a million
Hmm.
weapons.
Um. Having said that, I can't think of a reason why it wouldn't have.
Because
Oh,
nothing.
unless it was. Oh, unless it collided with something, and then just gonna try something real quick. Um, I think that maybe that hopper absorbed the bomb, and then because that happened, it wouldn't let me throw another one. Maybe,
Right. It
but
absorbed it before the bomb itself could set that variable back to 0.
mm, let's
That's a good verb. The hopper absorbed the bomb.
okay. So let's can throw that. Okay. I'll just try throwing it off screen. So I'll go right to the end. Oh, it just blows up when it gets, which is fine. So far that's. Oh, oh no. I thought I'd broken it, but it wasn't broken.
Right.
So I'm just going to try throwing that into the hopper. No, I can't. Cannot explain that.
Oh.
Um, though it did only take one sword slash to destroy it after I'd bombed it
Yeah.
all those times.
Well, no, that is because the hopper actor that's in the air
Yep.
has fewer. It gets hurt. It takes way more damage because it's open. Like it's in an armored state when it's
Ah,
on the
okay, right.
ground,
Yep.
and when it opens up, it's vulnerable. So that's intentional.
Yep.
If you
Um,
wait and use good timing and slash it before it can shoot you, then you can kill it with 1 hit typically.
okay, so
But
for
if you hack at it while it's on the ground, it takes a lot of hits.
um, well, let's have a look at might just do a little bit of tidy up here because
Yep.
we can change that to an else if, and we can also change that to an else if. Yep. So we've got a few different states. So we've got bomb B. Ah, and they also have projectile animation. It was bomb B. So that must be if it's being thrown and then it collides. So note that this one doesn't actually reset the.
Yeah, that's
Um,
the problem.
hmm.
Whenever the bomb gets destroyed, we need to also set that variable to 0 so that the next bomb can be thrown.
Well, Now, here's the other thing. I notice you're using VAR 1, which I presume is for the health.
Of actors that are getting hit, yeah, that's always hit points of enemies, variable 1.
So, and I see, like, what you described before is that the amount of damage it takes depends on what state it's in. So it's only minus
Right.
2 there, but it's minus 5 there. At a glance, it doesn't look like there's anything that's actually, like, we've subtracted that, but then there's nothing saying, well, is this below 0?
Right, there's a very common code block that I use called blow up.
Yep.
And I should be like go subbing or go toing blow up, I think. We could check at the end of the hit animations for both the hopper hit animation. So it's
so hopper gunner idle hit.
Yeah. And then air or jump hit or something like hopper
hit here. Okay, so that air hit plays blow up.
Okay,
but the idle hit does not.
Okay, there we go. That probably explains it. It should.
Okay,
so basically, I don't want enemies to blow up immediately. I want them to do their hit reaction first and then blow up if they should blow up. It just looks more rewarding for the player.
So should this one both be blow up, or?
Yes, blow up is fairly generic code that just checks if an actor's of variable 1, which is their hit points, is less than 1, and if so, blow it up.
Yep. Oh, yep. And you've got the gunner and the gunner ear.
Yep.
I'll do the same. I will do the same tidy up. So I'll make that
awesome.
Else if. And we've already got an else at the bottom, so that's good. Right. So if we go back to on hit by projectile, we've got hop gunner hit by shots. And if it's the bomb, you want to make it so that where are we? Base set variable, and then what was it? Oh yeah, so this set to 1 if bomb is thrown. Well, that's 0 now. Right. And this doesn't actually do any. This bit doesn't actually do any damage because it's really the explosion. This one here that does the damage.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'm gonna try destroying the. I am going to try destroying that enemy while it's on the ground using bombs alone.
Right. One thing I did not do that I was considering doing is resetting the, if it's on the ground and you hit it, resetting its timer, so you can basically stuff it up so it can't jump. Like, it'll stay in its armored state if we keep whacking at it. But I've not done that, and I'm not sure I want to do that, but I was considering that.
Fair enough. Oops.
I don't see it playing its hit animation, so... And I think it should have died already. Oh, there it did a hit, but I think you hit it with the sword accident. I still don't think it's taking any damage. Oh, when it gets hit and we spawn the bomb, are we making sure to set the bomb's variable to 1? Its variable 1 to 1? Because that's what tells the game that it can do damage to an enemy.
Okay. It looks like that's what it's meant to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's have a look at Okay, so those collision boxes are pretty big, so nothing should go through it. Let's have a look at our bomb, and that's a smaller collision box, but that's still big enough that it should.
Yeah, it's certainly overlapping for sure. Yeah, well, that's not the problem. Like that, it's obviously exploding like it's supposed to, but the explosion is not triggering damage and triggering the hit animation.
So we've got this bomb B. Projectile animation. Oh, now we've got okay. Now. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so nothing should be triggering that air hit
If it's hit.
or the idle hit. So we get to here. That should those things should trigger just to make absolutely sure. I'm just going to do the real lazy way of making sure that it's actually running that code. Is making it quit as soon as as soon as it's as soon as it runs it. So that if it doesn't quit, then we know that there's a problem with reaching that code. If it does quit, then we know that bit of the code is fine. It's just something that happens after that we haven't quite considered. Oops.
Yeah. Hey, Indie Retro News. Welcome. It's very cool to have you in the chat. What I do in Construct when testing if code runs is, well, there we go, it proved it runs, is I trigger crazy sound effects on the code block or code I want to make sure is running. But obviously in Scorpion Engine, if you have music playing too, there's a chance it won't play anyway.
True.
Even if the code block does run. So why isn't it doing damage?
Well, the next thing I'm going to try is explosion. Is that is the bomb explosion?
Yeah, that's the only one, and the difference is if its variable 1 is set to 1, then it can hurt the enemies, and if not, then it cannot.
Okay,
so are we checking if the bomb is overlapping and its variable is 1, then it should do damage, right?
Okay, yep, and you have got that. You have got that projectile var1. So let's gonna try add another quit there. The type equals hop gunner. Actually, I'm just gonna put that there, and that is so that is the class is projectile. Okay, I'm just gonna try that.
So when it should be doing damage, that's when it's going to quit.
Yes.
So at least we know that that part of the code is triggering, but for some reason the damage is not. It's almost like because that explosion was spawned just before
Oops.
in the
Forgot
code
to
block
change
that forget to change the weapon. Yeah, it's not triggering the hit animation. You can see it's definitely not triggering. And it didn't quit the game. So for some reason,
so we're not,
and it's clearly overlapping.
So we're not getting to the if projectile animation equals explosion A.
Let's see, actors, gunner. Oh, interesting. So Hop Gunner is also a projectile. So is that confusing it?
Oh, possibly. Although, having said, projectiles should be able to collide with other projectiles. Should be able to, but That's
Maybe it's getting confused as to
although
what variable one it's checking or changing.
could be, yeah. Okay, so well, I'm just going to try just to rule it out. Although having said that, it oh sorry, I was just about to say that we know for sure that it is detecting collisions with projectiles, but as you say, it might be getting confused about which
One is setting or checking variable one
hmm.
to see if it can do damage and all that stuff. Because its hit points are almost never going to be one, and it's checking, you know what I mean? So it certainly sounds like it could be the problem.
Oh, got to change the weapon. Let's lob a grenade. No, okay, so that. Now I did see that there were 2 explosions that time. In that time,
Yeah, that's weird too.
so I think that. Hmm.
It is supposed to create an explosion and destroy itself when it hits an enemy, and create one and destroy itself if it hits the ground. So I think it's hitting the ground and the enemy on the same frame, and that's confusing it, even though it destroys itself afterward. Maybe it's not immediately destroying itself in the code block, and it should.
Hmm.
Or it's 2 separate code blocks, maybe. There's when it hits the ground, and there's when it hits an enemy. It will explode or spawn an explosion.
Just
I
gonna
think
try.
it's
Just
I
gonna
think
try.
it's able to do both.
Oh, right. Let me just try something. I've set it as spawn rather than shoot. It shouldn't have made a difference, but it is a very weird problem we're dealing with. So we
Yeah.
I think we do need to experiment a bit with things that aren't. Well, we're not dealing with a logical problem, so we sort of have to try a
Right.
few things that are illogical until we work it out.
I realized too another kind of haymaker solution we could make. There was no real reason for me to use the same actor. I could point it to the same animation and make a different actor. So I could
Hmm.
clone the explosion actor and have one version that
Yep.
always is the one that damages enemies, and the other one is just for the effect, and just make sure I'm spawning the right one. That was just a sword. Oh no, are you hitting it now with bombs?
Yeah, I
Or
mean,
was that a coincidence?
it looked like it actually hit it in midair. It hit it. So it must definitely be running. Yeah, it's like it's just not getting down to this bit of the code. For some strange reason, or it doesn't think the projectile animation is that. Doesn't think that the projectile animation is that, or should be.
So does that code block play if Hop Gunner idle gets overlapped with a projectile? Hop Gunner idle, the actor.
It Yeah, it did. I mean, it did seem to run that code. The hop gun
Yeah,
hit by shots. Because it quit immediately when I had this as the uh, yeah, quit immediately when I had that as the well, I had quit up here,
yeah, yeah.
but it's just never done it here. So it's not even checking var one. It's just the projectile animation. Just see if there's anything. Okay, so there's nothing unusual about that animation. Oh, this. Oh, explosion drop. Okay, I guess that, yeah, it must be just for dropping an item, but that shouldn't interfere with it. Being it, and it isn't a bug with projectile animation because it's working. I mean, it's detecting that at least. I know that it's detecting that the animation playing is bomb B up here, and then Wait, actually, what do we... Wait, spawn... Okay, so we're spawning explosion 1 on projectile. And that is set as a projectile. There's nothing unusual here either. All it does is... It does... Explosion A. Oh, we've got prevent collision turned on.
Only in some frames of the explosion. The first several should...
No, all of these have...
Oh,
prevent
that's
collision.
not good. I didn't intentionally do that. The first 2 frames for sure should do damage. Should have collision turned on.
Okay.
Well, that certainly explains
no,
it.
that's... Sorry. Prevent collision is not per frame, it's per animation.
Oh, well, there you go. So I thought I was turning it on for... Oh, man. Okay. That explains it.
What? So you've got that VAR one that you turn off for when
Right.
could we make that part of this?
That's a great idea.
So if we go
Just
explosion,
make a code block that... Yeah.
Well, you've got this explosion drop item. Yep. You could just make it so we set VAR 1.
Well, yeah. All right. That's perfect. Yeah.
Set variable was that the actor
variable 1. Yep.
VAR 1
to 0
and set that to 0.
Yep. To 0.
So let's
Yeah, well, that's got to do it. That explains it.
I might have to consider making these per frame.
It would certainly be useful, but the other thing I was going to say is I just realized I could have made it a melee box.
Yep. Oh, yep, and that would only do it once.
Yeah.
Or it would do it once on each frame that you had a melee box on, but you don't need to have a melee box on all of them.
Right, exactly.
So now that we've made that change, I'm going to try destroying the I'm going to try destroying this guy as well with bombs.
Oh. Yeah. I'm assuming it fixed it everywhere, because how could it not? That was the whole problem, is it wasn't detecting any collisions.
Okay, so that's that done.
Fantastic.
All right, so I want to do some tidy up here, and well, first thing I'm going to do is if I go to commit, and then in here I can look at the things that let's have a look at things that we don't want to change. So these hop gunner, I'm going to put them back the way they were because there wasn't any changes to hop gunner that we wanted to keep.
Right.
That animation we want to keep. The idle we want to keep. I'll need to check hop gunner hit by shots. I think some of that we want to keep, but we want to remove that one that's like where are we? Hop gunner hit by shots. So let's get rid of that quit. And so gonna jump. I think those are okay. Okay, so what I'm gonna try now is just seeing if I can use the grenades to completely destroy. Actually, I'll see if I can use the grenades to destroy pretty much everything. Right. So I think if I get above the boss, I should be able to use grenades to destroy it.
You can actually throw them up into him from below.
Oh.
They go up on an arc before they come down onto the ground, so you might have to jump, but if you jump and then throw one, you can hit him from beneath. Another cheat we probably should do is just give us infinite hit points for easy testing.
Oh, I'll do that next run. I'll
I feel like the bomb should be able to kill that guy in like 2 hits, not require like 4 bomb hits for that hop gunner.
Oh well.
I'll tweak that later.
Oh, okay. Oh well. So that was a one-hit kill with the bomb.
Yep. Yeah, that's supposed to be.
Okay.
Oh yeah, see, now that's not supposed to be. That was one of the other bugs on the list. I know why this is happening.
Yep.
It's not exactly a bug, I just haven't coded it yet, but I was going to ask you the best way to code it. The way I had it before, the boss had a would use the flash mode when he's just been hit.
Yep.
And then in the code, he can't get hit if he's flashing. So that way the boomerangs can't just instant kill him and the bombs can't instant kill him. But right now, I stopped using flash because now to optimize the boss,
Yep.
he's got a central strip that's a 16 pixel wide bob, and then he's got a 16 color, 16 pixel wide sprite on either side of him to complete his overall
Oh, okay.
form.
So you would need
And
to
because the
flash all
sprite
three of
ones
them.
can't flash, right? They could flash if you faked it, and I did try that. I created an alternate animation with them, looking like they're flashing. But no matter what I did, I could not keep the flapping wings animation perfectly synced between the bob made midsection and the sprite made end sections.
Yep.
So I abandoned that. So now I'm basically thinking the easiest solution is to, when he gets hit, set a variable, because every time he gets hit, the flying boss gets hit, I push him and then do a yield and then push him back to make him like basically reel from the hit, go moving quickly away from the direction of the hit, and then move back to where he originally was.
Yep.
So in that code, we could set a variable to like 1. And if the variable is 1, then he can't get hit. And then after the yield, set that variable back to 0.
Yep.
But is there an easy way to test? I don't think there is yet. If a variable is being used somewhere, like variable of an actor, like that would be another nice filter search. Like,
Well,
is this being used for anything yet?
So you mean like if like an active 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 is being used
In any code block anywhere, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, it's not directly, the code block doesn't necessarily talk about that particular actor. It can be any actor, so.
I mean, I would probably consider using like a new variable. Just creating a new variable for that instead of using an actor, var1.
Since there's only one boss, that's fine, yeah.
But in future, if you have the same, like if you have a boss scene where you're fighting 2 of them at once.
Yeah.
Although I suppose you can't really do that with the current setup because it relies on sprites.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
one great feature would be if in the editor you could name variable 1 through 5 for each actor, and then you could easily search and find if you're referencing. Well, even then, at least you'd remind yourself if you gave it a custom name. Obviously, you're using it for that whatever you named it. But the editor wouldn't have to export that. Like it could keep it variable 1 through 5 in the game engine.
Yep.
But in the editor, letting you name it would be great.
Well, I mean, what we could potentially do is when we add a new variable, we've got these different types. So we've only really got, just straight variable, a constant, or a string. We could maybe have something called like an alias. And an alias would just be a, you could say,
it would point to a variable 1 through 5.
So it would be something like, so enemy health would be a alias for
variable 1.
Yeah, so actor
in my
var
case.
1.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Speaking of alias, I had the same idea for sounds, because now that you could change the pitch and the volume of sounds, imagine if you could create like a library of alias sounds because it's super easy to forget. Okay, whenever this shot hits any kind of enemy, I want it to play this sound sample with this frequency and at this volume.
Yep.
And having to remember that or write it down is really sloppy. But imagine if you could pre-set up like, okay, I'm going to call this sound effect hit blob guy, and it's this sound sample with this volume with this pitch.
Mm.
And then I could just pick that from a list in the editor and it would pre-set up those things for me instead of
Oh,
me
okay.
having to write a list and
Um,
you know what I mean?
yeah. What I would probably do in that instance is just have a code block that just does that one thing. So, like, triggers sound enemy hit, and then you have your sound set up with those
Right.
settings. But
That works. Yeah.
yeah, I'll have a think about it. I do want to make some changes to well, I do want to consider making some changes to the sound system. Like, so for example, audio and then 5. So if we go down to our sounds and then we've got our keyboard, so we can play these back at different rates. What we could maybe do is have it so that you could have several copies of the sound configured at different frequencies, but it wouldn't take up any more memory because it would just be that one copy of the
Yeah,
sample
that would
data
be
in memory.
fantastic. Right.
Um, so yeah, I think that's something we'll keep thinking about, and some stage in the future we'll have some sort of option for having just having sound set up. Well, the same sound set up multiple times at
Right.
different
Just so it's
rates.
really easy to reference and
Mm,
remember while you're editing the game, because the more enemies you have and the more you use the same sound effect in different circumstances at a different frequency and volume, it
mm,
starts to get messy and time consuming.
yep.
And then if you want to edit that, like, oh no, that sound effect would sound better at this pitch, and you have to go back and edit a bunch of hard code uh, and try to hunt down every time you triggered that particular sound. All right, so shall we move on to the next? Oh yeah, no, we're not done yet with the boss not being able to get hit to death instantly with the bomb or boomerang.
Mm.
So you set up the variable, but we need to make it so that when I think it's called flyer hit,
Okay, so
or at least that's what
flyer. Oh, hit by
a
bounced.
code block. I mean, there's a
Um,
code block. There's not an animation we use. That's the small flyer. That one doesn't count.
oh, sorry.
It's big
Big
flyer.
flyer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's still hit by bounced.
Yep, that's for getting hit by the bounced shot, but it might handle other stuff too. I don't remember.
Okay. Um, because hit by bounced is okay. So I can do some I'll do some tidy up here as well. So
Sounds good.
let's just let's make that an else if. Make that an else if, and then one more else if.
So you see those yields and pushes?
Yep.
So
Um.
just before the first push is when we should set that variable for the boss to so that he cannot be hit.
Mm,
And then as soon as he's done with the uh after the after the yield, then we should switch him back to being able to be hit.
yep. So this hit by bounced
Yep.
is for both the big flyer and I think it's for the regular flyer as well.
Right, that makes sense. The regular flyer doesn't exist anymore, but I didn't delete them because I might
okay.
use them in later
Yep.
levels.
So we should have a condition that says, "Is this the
Boss
Is this the bot?"
actor.
Although having
Yeah.
well,
It's not relevant right now because it doesn't exist in the game, the small
Hmm.
flyer, but definitely
Yeah.
if we end up using it, that'll cause a problem.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like you actually have used most of these vars for. You've got values for most of these vars. So I
That's
guess
tricky.
we are. Yeah. Okay. So
One is hit points.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought you had created. Didn't you add a variable? I thought I saw you do
Oh,
that
that
a few
was
minutes
sort
ago.
of just to talk about the concept of like an
Oh,
alias,
okay.
but oh, we'll call. Well, should we call this one boss invincible?
Sure, that works.
When we come back to this in future with the smaller flyers, we'll want to have some conditions in here
Right.
to make sure that this is
It's the
only being
boss.
used for that. But
Exactly.
um, now, so let's set that variable boss invincible to true. I'll do a tidy up here as well because the projectile either has to be on the left or the right, so we can just change that to a else. So it's either on the left or it's on the right.
Right.
And then push actor over 10 frames. Okay, so what we can do is, so no matter which way it goes, it's going to that um, that push is going to run for 10 frames.
Right.
So I'll put it underneath, like rather than having it twice in here, I'll have it on either side, or have it at the end. Then at the very end, we want to set this boss invincible back to false.
Right.
And then the only thing left is, well, you've got this if right at the top, you've got if actor render mode equals render mode flash.
Right, because some enemies that might use this code block as well, they do flash.
So I'll
And the
make it.
flyer used to flash. The boss did.
I'll make a copy of that, and I'll just say if it's boss invincible.
Yeah, but now we might break the game if we do that without also embedding that in an if actor type is boss.
Okay, so let's do that then. So we'll go actor type equals
What's it called? Big flyer or something
or
like that?
big flyer. Yeah. Duplicate that line. Okay, so if the actor type is big flyer, then check if it's invincible.
There we go.
And if it is invincible, then return.
Yep. And you might want to copy that whole section because we probably need to add that to another code block that detects whether or not the boss is being hit by a sword attack. But at the same time, I think because that's a melee box, it's only going to trigger one hit anyway. I think that already works perfectly fine.
Yeah,
So
so
never
I
mind.
think it's all right to apply sword damage if we happen
Yep.
to also be applying projectile damage at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. It's almost impossible anyway, but that would be kind of cool to have the boomerang coming back and hitting him from behind, and you attack him with the sword. Both hits should do damage, I think.
Oh, now it looks like it looks like we've basically got the same block of code twice, and I've only
That
added the
could just be
boss.
an accidental paste, so
Oh,
that's
that's
all
all
too
right.
possible.
Let's have a look. So these, should we put this bit in its own code block? call it flyer pushback or something like that.
I certainly have no problem with that.
Yep.
Anything to keep things more organized.
Let me just see. Oh, there's actually 3 places that we do the pushback.
Do the same logic. Yeah.
So I'm going to copy all that, and I'll call this.
Maybe call it flyer push, since
Flyer
it will theoretically
push.
be used for the little flyer too at some point.
Okay, so I've created a new code block called flyer push. Let's paste that all in there.
All right.
Um,
Mixel said, "Oh, that would solve the not being able to set frequencies in the actor tab issue too." I'm not sure. I assume he's talking about sound frequencies, but
yeah. So that's something I discussed with Mixel before. Something I hadn't actually considered was, like, for example, if you have an actor player,
I
does this
think I
have a
get
jump
it now.
sound?
That's a
Yeah.
cool idea.
So yeah, there's a jump sound here for the player, but we can't set the frequency from here.
Right.
We could set it elsewhere in the game, but then it's
it would affect everyone or whatever.
Mm.
So like the idea would be for each enemy you could set a frequency and then all their sound effects would play at that frequency, or at least specific ones would. And that way, that's a very organized way to have like the voice or different sound effects sound different per enemy. And it would be editable in the actor tab. That's a very cool idea.
So what was the name of the Hit by Bounced, I think it was called. Okay,
Yeah, that sounds right. It was either Hit by Bounced or Flyer Hit by Bounced. I don't know if that exists.
Yeah. Hit by Bounced. I'll just check for absolute sure. Yep.
And it's
Okay,
identical.
so that is Hit by Bounced. And I'll just check that our flyer push. Okay, so that's just it is just the push. So if we then go back to by bounce, let's get rid of all of that.
Sometimes the like 10-second delay of me seeing your screen can be scary when you're editing code. Because you were in a different code block 10 seconds ago and you say, so let's delete all that. And for a split second, I thought, no, don't delete that.
We probably should have the projectile, this bounced big shot. Yeah, I think we should have it destroyed before we do the push.
Say that again? The making it invulnerable should happen before the push?
Sorry, destroying the projectile should happen before the push. There's this bounce
that makes
big
sense.
shot.
Yeah.
And then
so long as you're not destroying the projectile but too soon, because we need to check its relative X position to see what direction to push it in. Like if you destroy it, you can't check its X versus the other thing, right? Because it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, now that's... Well, the bounce big shot, it doesn't matter, but it does matter for the explosion A.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe that's why the destroy projectile was there. Okay. All right, so I'll do a bit more tidy up here. Let's get rid of that destroy projectile line. And in our flyer push, we just need to make sure that because we want to destroy the projectile before the yield, because otherwise, it's just going to linger there.
Right.
Although that depends on the type of projectile, because I think the explosion you don't want to destroy, do you?
Correct. And same thing with the boomerang. The only one that should get destroyed is something that doesn't do damage in the first place, which is bomb A.
But what about the
or bomb?
the deflected shot?
Oh yes, that should be destroyed. Good point.
Okay, so all right. So all I need to do is I just need to go condition if the
Projectile.
Yeah, projectile type is equals
Bounced shot, I think it's called. Bounced.
bounced big shot 1.
That's the one.
Okay, so let's do a
And then destroy it.
in condition and base no actor. We want to set actor to none. So not actor. It's projectile. We'll set
Projectile.
projectile to none. So destroy projectile. Do that again. So if it's bounce big shot 1 on either side, it will destroy it. So let's go back to our. Where is it? Flyer. No, it wasn't flyer. Hit by bounced. That's what it's called. Okay. If bomb B. Okay, bomb B, it doesn't need to do anything because it just converts to an explosion, and the explosion does
Right.
damage.
Exactly.
So under the explosion A, that's another one that we need to do this. Need to do the go to. No, that should be go. Sorry, that should be go sub.
Go sub.
Because the difference is go to means it does that other code and then it doesn't do anything else.
Never comes back. Right.
Is that? Now I'm going to change that to inline. And what inline does is it basically copies and pastes it there. It's because go sub doesn't work with yield very well. And this is a way of so let's have a look. So so that should be inline. And then we've got this code down there as well. And that should be everything that we need to do. Hopefully. I guess we give it another test and see what happens if I use a bomb. So it should take more than one bomb explosion, presumably.
Right. To kill the boss, yeah.
I'm just going to try destroying
kill
everything
everyone with bombs. Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Yep.
Although we should try bounced hits and boomerangs too to make sure none of that got messed up.
What am I doing? Let's get that bridge back. Okay. All right.
Once the bridge is there, you can also slide under those shots. And you can cancel out of your slide and with attack or jump. Like you're not stuck in the slide. Oh, it's so nice to see the bombs actually hurting that hopper enemy like they're supposed to. Very nice.
Okay, so that was one bomb. Oops, I hit it with the sword that time accidentally. Did that again. Yeah. It's not okay. So it's no longer letting me throw bombs. So that's probably another
yeah, we didn't set that variable. What is it? X bomb to 0. I assume that's under hit by bounced, right? If it's bomb.
Yeah, so we're destroying our bomb, but we're not doing the
setting that variable. Yeah.
So set variable. Is it X bomb?
Yep.
Set that to 0. Okay, good. We can use Like another way that the issue could be approached is we could use a 4 each to count how many of those bombs are on the screen.
Yeah,
But
but whichever is
that's
faster.
yeah.
I
So
assume that's more expensive.
that definitely is more expensive. But you would only need to check that when you're actually trying to throw a bomb.
Right.
Oh,
Oh, good point. So what ends up being more expensive is the question.
yeah, it would still be the 4 each would still be more expensive. Oh.
Right. So the biggest reason I invented this other enemy, the Hopper, is because I realized, hey, if I have those two 16 color, 16 pixel wide sprites that I use to introduce the boss, and I use it for the full size boss to optimize it, like stuck on
Yep.
either end, why not use it earlier on in the level? There was that mid section where I used to have the two rolling enemies, and it was running pretty. That's the spot that would really slow down on an 8500. And I thought, hey, what if I replace one of them with an enemy that's made out of sprites, and use those sprites? So I'm actually doing some juggling of the sprite palette too with the hand. The code. I made a code block that switches the sprite colors. Because if you notice during the boss intro, when he's in the background, his colors are muted out, so he looks in the distance. Um, so, but right now, the sprite palette is matching the foreground palette much more closely, so that that enemy looks to have proper contrast and not muted out. But then once you get to the boss intro, it switches the sprite palette again to the muted out version, and as soon as that background boss sprite that goes off screen to the right goes off screen and it spawns the real boss, it needs to bring the sprite palette back to the full contrast so that it can stick the ends onto the boss.
Yep.
So I'm doing some fancy hand sprite palette and sprite juggling for optimizing.
All right. Have you
So yep.
have you played with Auto Sprite at all?
Yes, in fact, I'm pretty sure that enemy, if you look
Oh
at
yeah.
both of the Hopper animations, or all the Hopper animations, only the hit ones are not set to auto sprite because I want them to be able to flash. But all of the other ones, like idle and in air and shoot, should have auto sprite and only sprite on, I mean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you are
So
using.
maybe it would work to turn auto spray on, and maybe when it's flashing, it'll be a bob, and when it's not, it'll be a sprite. I have no idea if
You. Flash should work with sprites now if you're using the like if you're editing the Flash image.
Oh, I
But
forgot you could do that.
but
Great point.
that doesn't like there is a memory cost to that.
Right,
Whereas if you haven't
for the
done that,
frame.
then it's completely free to Flash. It doesn't use any additional
Yeah,
memory.
yeah, I'm fine with it becoming a bob while it's flashing. Uh,
Yep.
but and that's where it is right now. So yeah, that enemy is made out only out of sprites. So the one other thing I wanted to do a check with your help, if possible,
Yep.
is the big shot and the bounced big shot. I want to make sure that they are always being destroyed whenever they should be destroyed, as far as quote unquote going off screen.
All right.
But I had turned that off in some circumstances because when the boss was shooting downward and you jumped in the air, instead of it hitting the ground and spreading out with the flame like it's supposed to, because the ground was not on screen, the shot would go off screen technically and disappear. It would get destroyed. So I just
Okay.
want to
Yep.
make sure that they're not going off screen to the left or right or down or up and just staying in memory and slowing down the game. Um,
Okay. Well, so was it big shot, and what was the other one? Bounce, big
Bounced.
shot.
Yeah, so one question I had was this would be really easy to solve. Is there a way, or if not, it would be really cool to set a way so you could tell it how many pixels off of the screen it needs to be before it gets destroyed? Because it seems really aggressive. It seems like literally once to the pixel it's not on screen, it gets destroyed.
Well, so the way to do that is we would want to have some conditions for so let me just so big shot one, have we got? Okay, so I'm gonna put those back for now, and we'll just have a look at what it looks. We'll just see what it looks like when something goes off. So if we go destroy destroy actor. One thing I
Yeah, like
noticed was on previous builds you would hear that big enemy shooting,
yes,
but
exactly.
so I'm assuming
Because
that's
it's so aggressive. When it's off screen by a pixel, it just gets destroyed.
um,
So like I wish you could just say once it's off screen by 64 pixels, then destroy it or something like that.
Yep. So let's so if I yep. Okay, so I see it as you say, basically disappears as soon as it hits the left edge.
Yeah.
So here's what we can do. So let's make a few more code blocks, and let's call this projectile off-screen left.
And the question is, when do we run this code block? It would have to be potentially every frame or every other frame or something like that.
Only on leave screen.
Oh, interesting.
Because that's not just on the very frame that it leaves the screen. It sort of runs
It's
it.
whenever it's off screen?
Yep.
Oh, very nice. Okay, that'll work very well then. I
So
assume that was like a one-shot trigger thing and a while off screen or something like that.
no, it is every frame that it's off the screen.
Yeah, well, that's great.
So let's just do. We'll say projectile off screen left. Actually, I'm gonna
Just combine it all, right? It should check for all of them in one event because we need to run it. Oh no, it has different.
Actually no.
Is off screen left, off screen right.
Actually, it probably makes sense to have it in one code block, and the reason for that is because I think if multiple conditions are true, if it's above the screen and to the left of the screen, it might
Right.
only be running one of those.
Right.
So if we just have one which is, I won't call it
Checks all of them.
projectile, I'll call it, because that might get confused with the projectile class. So I'm just going to go shot
Right.
off screen handler.
There we go.
And so I'm going to go, well, if our actor X, and I'm just going to go less than camera X minus 32. Else if actor X is greater than camera X plus X res plus 32. Else if actor Y is greater than if less than camera Y minus 32. And these are all values that you can sort of tweak just to get the exact effect that you want. So otherwise, you go else if the actor Y is greater than the camera Y plus Y res plus 32. And using X res and Y res, it just means that if you change resolution, if you decide to make it wider or taller, then it's not going to
I don't
break
have
the
to
logic.
rechange hard typed numbers instead. That's great.
So we want to set the. So we just want to destroy it, right? We don't want to.
Yep.
To do
Nothing fancy, just destroy it. The only way that wouldn't be the case if we were also using this for bombs but I think I simply just never destroy the bomb because it's definitely going to get destroyed. It's going to collide with something.
Mm. So let's give that a try.
And we should do the same exact thing for the bounce, right?
Mm.
Unless you did that and I didn't notice.
No, I haven't done that yet, but I'll give it a try with this one to start with.
Yep. Yep.
And I'll just make sure that I move. Oh yeah. Up. Okay, how's that looking?
I'll know in 10 seconds.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. Well, he's shooting from slightly off screen, so that's great. The boss, I mean. And if you chase one of them, like to the left, you see it destroy or anything like that? No, I think that's all great. Just need to make it work for bounce shots too. I think we're golden.
So, well, where are we? Bounce big shot. So we want to change that to our shot off-screen handler.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's all we need to do.
Yeah, that was my full entire list as well. That was the last thing.
Actually, one thing that I will need to do is commit that all in so that you've got everything I've done tonight. Otherwise,
Yep.
Okay.
And the one last thing I did want to do now that we've got you've cleaned up the code quite a bit, and now there's definitely not shots lingering off level, wasting game performance. If you wouldn't mind, try running the game as an A500 with 1 meg, and
we'll just see
let's see if it's performing better in this. Yeah, it was especially in the center that it was clearly chugging, but now that we have only the sprite-based enemy and more optimized code, I'm hoping.
Well, let's.
The only other question I had was that would there be a way to kind of hard code restarting a level without literally reloading it? Because in A500 settings, it's a pretty long wait to restart a level if you die. So could I, instead of literally reloading it, just have hard code that like respawns any destroyed enemies and stuff like that? Like, I don't want to do that now in this stream. I'm just saying theoretically, is that possible?
Yeah, theoretically. In practice, it might be a bit tricky to.
Yeah, especially having to.
The other thing I was about to say is we've got cache maps turned off. Now, I presume it's turned off for memory reasons because it does burn memory, but that does reduce loading time in the sense that it keeps a compressed version of the map in memory that it can just extract rather than needing to read it from disk again.
Oh, that's cool. And that's specifically to restart a level. That's not, it doesn't like preload every level of the whole game.
Yeah, that's so. I'll just guesstimate about how much memory that would use up. So if we go to, let's have a look at our map.
By the way, while you're doing that, it does need, in order to fit an A500 with 1 meg, you'd need to turn on that add 21K or whatever, that checkbox.
Oh, okay, yep. So
otherwise, it'll crash mid-load.
Yep. Yeah, so it should only add about 2 kilobytes to memory, though it sounds like you're getting pretty close to the limit as it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
I'm actually shocked after I added the new enemy and the the bridge that you turn on with the switch. I was surprised that it's still not over the limit for the 1 meg Amiga. It's got to be really close.
Mm.
But
In fact,
I do
I'm gonna
continue to
try it
keep
with
optimizing.
cache maps. So it's probably not going to decrease loading times a lot, but it should maybe 3 or 4 seconds.
Oh, that would make a big
Um,
difference. Like it's
oh,
only a matter of seconds, but it's still
mm,
a little annoying for a modern gamer. Not that, I
yep.
mean, the only people that would experience that are people emulating or running on a real
Mm.
A500 with a floppy disk. So
I
it's
mean,
not the end of
yeah.
the world, but
I mean, you may also want to consider like, do you really want to start the level over? You could just, put the player back to a checkpoint. Just scroll it back to,
right,
because you've already punished the player by taking a life
right.
away.
Yep, definitely true.
Hmm.
That we just restarted the level because it's the fastest, easiest way to get death functionality into this demo. But that's very true. By the time it's a real game, or an upgraded demo in the future,
Yep.
adding more of a checkpoint type behavior would be a lot better. So yeah, it looks like it's running very smoothly so far with the first boss. I think there was a little slowdown. I'm thinking about retooling the
Mm.
explosions when the
Um,
big guy is exploding.
yeah, to be fair, my WinUE has been slowing down occasionally during the stream. I think it's just
Right,
OBS. Well, yeah, I've got a laptop that's starting to age, and
right,
OBS. It definitely was slowed down when we had multiple. We were streaming to Twitch as well as streaming on Skype or Discord.
right,
So I think some of the frame drops could potentially be just my computer as well.
right. Well, I could
But
tell based compared to how when I was running it, even though you're streaming and stuff, it's definitely running a lot smoother than before we did the stream and you made all the changes and cleaned up the code.
oh,
So
that's oh,
that's looking great.
yeah,
This is another spot I'm expecting there to be some slowdown. We'd have to be really creative with optimizing to get, because you could have like a bomb blowing up the big boss, and then the flames on the ground.
mm.
But yeah, no, it's looking pretty darn good. And last I knew, it runs even faster, and the frame drops are less noticeable in NTSC mode.
Oh yeah. Interesting. I would have actually thought frame drops would be worse on NTSC, but guess
That could be. It's probably over a certain threshold that
mm.
it gets really bad, very noticeable in NTSC.
Oh, actually, one thing I forgot, because we made those cheating changes so that we could
Oh,
was
right.
I
Yeah.
should put those back before I forget.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Um,
I can definitely do it if you need to end the stream.
I might as well
Yeah,
yeah, I think it will
well,
end the
it's on our
stream
thing.
soon, but this
Yeah.
is just a minor thing. I'm just trying to remember where was the
It's in throw.
throw,
Yeah.
yep. Oh yeah, and it's just that blue energy and the blue energy. So let's if let's just shoot that in. Fix for blue energy.
Excuse me.
And yeah, I think that is a good place to end it for the night. I think.
Awesome. Yeah, well, the demo is pretty much ready to send to the YouTuber, so
Yep.
I'll definitely test it quite a bit more in the next couple of days and let you know if there's anything that I find that I can't fix. But thanks as always for all this help and for Scorpion Engine in general.
Well, thank you for coming on the stream and well for using Scorpion for your amazing looking game.
Well, it's
Well,
officially this is working title Scorpion Boy is
yep.
officially a Pixel Glass and a
BitBeamCannon.
BitBeamCannon collaborative project. So
Hmm.
um, someday you guys watching will be able to buy the game to both support BitBeamCannon and Pixel Glass for continued work on Scorpion and games. Thanks, Mixel. And your game, Mixel, is looking fantastic, and it's great to have someone else working on such a robust project with so many different features and stuff. Like, you're really helping push and test the limits of Scorpion as well. And you've contributed a lot of awesome ideas that have improved Scorpion as well. And Eric is amazing. Like, Eric, your kind of response time to requests and bug reports and all that stuff is really impressive.
Thank you very much.
Scorpion just keeps getting better at such an amazing rate. It's fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Well, so I guess that's the end, unless sort of any last minute thoughts or questions, comments. I traditionally raid Amiga Live and at the end of a stream, and they because they're just about the only other Amiga streamer that's running at this time, and they are in fact streaming right now with quite a few people over there. So I'll probably send everyone that way. Okay, well, thanks, Mike, for coming on, and thanks everyone for watching, and look forward to seeing everyone next time.